Hey guys, welcome to Boxing Squared for boxing news and views from around the internet. Massive upset in the heavyweight division. Adam Kownacki stopped in the fourth round by Robert Helenius in a great performance for Helenius, who sort of realizes some of his earlier career potential. This is a famous victory for Robert Helenius and puts him in line for a potential title shot at some point. Adam Kownacki was ranked in the top 6 of all sanctioning bodies. He was really a sniff away from a heavyweight title, and this fight really is a high-level stay busy or cherry pick gone wrong, because Helenius was meant to be the opponent. He was meant to put up some resistance, but Kownacki to walk through him, walk on to the next thing, whatever that was going to be. But Helenius had other ideas, and this was a case where Adam Kownacki, in between sort of a couple of moments in the second round where he was getting touched up by Helenius, ultimately was executing his game plan until he wasn't. So fourth round, we'll start there because that's where the stoppage occurred. So Robert Helenius and Kownacki are trading. They're in the corner of the ring, and he connects with a big right hand. This is Helenius. Kownacki goes down to a knee. Well, it's sort of like he was dropped down, sort of off balance, takes a knee, and the referee rules it a slip, and on replay it clearly looked like a knockdown. Moments later, Helenius follows up. You can tell that Kownacki has been rocked, that he's hurt, that it is a time for Helenius to really pour it on. And he does. Within moments, Kownacki is on the deck. And from that point, it was basically all she wrote, because Helenius just emptied the kitchen sink after Kownacki beats the count, just backs him up. Kownacki couldn't really throw anything back, and he is beaten. The ref steps in, waves it off. Robert Helenius realizes some of his earlier career potential. Now in line, because remembering that was a WBA eliminator, and the WBA specifically put Helenius into their top 15 rankings for this fight. He wasn't in them before. They put him into number 6, and I think he's dropped back to number 7 now. And Adam Kownacki was at 3 a month or so ago when this fight was made, 2 months ago, but he was at 4. An eliminator, so this is going to end well for Robert Helenius in a big fight next, and we'll come to that a bit later. But Adam Kownacki, for the most part, his game plan was working until it wasn't, landing all sorts of body shots, 16 in the first round according to CompuBox, and a decent percentage of power shots and just general punches overall. Threw more volume, landed more shots overall, but by the second round, Helenius had started to work out in time where Adam Kownacki was going to be, and he connected with the right hand. That was the first point. Adam Kownacki was backed up in the fight, and you sort of thought, oh, Helenius is landing here. And I'd said in my preview coverage, this guy is a big puncher. He is a chance if he can catch Adam Kownacki coming in. I mean, even myself, I sort of thought, this was a less likely outcome than a Kownacki win. I don't think too many people were tipping Robert Helenius. I thought that it was a 70-30 fight, and the 30% for me was because Helenius is a big puncher. This, sort of stops the rot and gets him back in the conversation for a heavyweight title shot, or at least some sort of final eliminator. The WBA did not designate this a final eliminator, just an eliminator at this point. So it doesn't mean as a result he's going to be facing Anthony Joshua at some point as a WBA mandatory. That was sort of what the commentary team sort of implied, that he was now the number 1 guy. And the thing is, in the WBA rankings, Adam Kownacki wasn't even the number 1 guy. Remembering that Trevor Bryan, the interim titleist, he is ranked number 1 currently in the WBA, and has been for well over a year now, since his win over BJ Flores back in 2018. But this was a great win for Robert Helenius, and it wasn't, like he was having massive amounts of success earlier in the fight either. He did look vulnerable at times. He was allowing Kownacki to come in. He couldn't really keep him off him. And there were points where he looked vulnerable, that he was even though in the post-fight he said that he wasn't hurt, he wasn't rocked in the fight, there were clearly moments where he was getting shaken up, and rocked was called by some of Adam Kownacki's punches. Kownacki was really working the body well. But the thing is, if you're a come-forward fighter like Kownacki, you don't really move your head. There is the chance that you can be clipped. And this is what happened here. Robert Helenius, a big puncher, exposed Adam Kownacki's defense, and obviously Kownacki probably has to go back to the drawing board and sort of, he can't use his face as a shield as he looks to work his way to the inside, because that's part of what he does. He backs his chin, but clearly it didn't hold up tonight under the weight of Robert Helenius's punches. And maybe you have to ask the question as well, was it a case that he was too out of shape for this fight too? 265 pounds, 1 pound off, or 3/4 of a pound off his career heaviest of 266. He did look like he was tiring by the sort of second and third rounds. That the first round obviously had taken a lot out of him. I sort of thought he doesn't look like he is firing as much, especially after the second round where Helenius had some success. Visibly he was slowed down, and through was also his own volume as well. And I don't think 260 odd is a good weight for him, and I've clearly said this in recent preview videos. And Adam Kownacki had said to me on Twitter regarding his weight, judge me on the performance. And I think, well, we can probably say maybe it was a mistake coming in that heavy. He's been coming in over 260 for his most recent fights, and his stamina has been an issue in previous fights. It didn't so much come into it in this fight, because if it had gone deeper, maybe you would have seen something, but he did look like he was slowing down a touch by the sort of third round, and perhaps that was a very good thing for Robert Helenius. He wasn't having as much relentless pressure. But in saying that, after the big second round, Robert Helenius slowed down himself, and the third round didn't really land many punches. But the fourth round, obviously they start trading. Helenius lands. It's ruled a slip, and I thought that was really a bad decision by the referee. It didn't look like a slip. It looked like a punch landed and he went down, and that's exactly what happened. But obviously the follow-up, it was definitive. Robert Helenius now takes over Adam Kownacki's place, likely in the WBA. He's got this WBA Eliminator 1. We'll have to see what the WBA does here, because they didn't order a final eliminator. But also, Adam Kownacki had other rankings. He was in the top 6 of all 4 sanctioning bodies. We will see Robert Helenius make his way into those sanctioning bodies, or whatever ones he's paid sanctioning fees for. Adam Kownacki is going to drop down elsewhere. So what had been basically a high-level stay busy, because that's what it was seen as. Robert Helenius' best days were behind him, or they probably still are, but he's a good puncher, and a punch is always going to be in a fight. He lost to Gerald Washington in decisive fashion in July 2019, and isn't it sort of funny, the whole triangle theory about who can beat who? Helenius lost to Washington. Washington was sparked by Kownacki, and Kownacki loses to Helenius. So it is kind of serendipitous what has gone on here, but yeah, good on Robert Helenius, good performance. And where to for Adam Kownacki? Well, that's hard to say, because PBC were clearly banking on him being in a title shot at some point. They have been keeping him warm with opponents that were basically, he was seen as being the heavy favourite in, Chris Arreola, and this one here. But sometimes, in heavyweight boxing, things don't go the way you plan, and it is, to some degree, a cherry pick gone wrong. But yeah, Robert Helenius, what do you make of it all? Drop a comment, loud and often, hit like, hit subscribe, follow me on Twitter, boxing_squared. I'm out.